The country's exports expanded by more than 10% in August from a year earlier, marking 11 consecutive months of growth, according to the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy.
산업통상자원부 발표에 따르면 우리나라 8월 수출액이 지난해 같은 달보다 10% 이상 증가해 11개월 연속 증가세를 기록했습니다. Let's talk about exports.
Yeah, did you know that South Korea is the first major economy, or is the major economy that announces trade figures?
Oh, I didn't know that.
The earliest out of any other major economy.
Is
So
that right?
at the beginning of the month, every first of the month is when the Trade Ministry will release these figures. But the latest figures show that exports are they're people keep a close eye on this in South Korea.
Yeah.
Exports grew by not just more than 10%, 11% to be more precise.
Yep.
11.4% in July, standing at $57.9 billion, according to the Trade Ministry. And if you look at what industries led this growth, semiconductors led this growth. 7 out of 15 key export items, including semiconductors, jumped up 38.8% to 11.9 billion. So if my math is correct, semiconductors make up a fifth of all exports in Korea last month. In terms of the destination, China was the largest destination for Korea's exports, up 8% to China and up 11% to the United States. And in terms of imports grew 6% as well to $54 billion, and that leaves a trade surplus of about $3.8 billion.
So we are exporting mostly to China and America.
Yes, by a slight margin.
Right,
$11.4 billion to China, $10.0 billion to the United States.
자, 그러면은 이제 산업별로 봤을 때는 semiconductors, 또 다른 말로 chips라고도 하죠. 반도체 산업이 한 5분의 1 정도를 차지할 정도로 수출 이렇게 증가하는 데 있어서 많은 몫을 했네요. 그다음에 어느 나라로 수출을 하느냐. 중국 그리고 미국 순이었습니다.
Yeah, so if you look at why semiconductors are so important to Korea's economy, exports make up a huge chunk of the nation's GDP. And if you look at exports more in detail, if semiconductors are making a fifth of those exports, that means just semiconductors alone make up a huge portion of the nation's economy.
Absolutely. Let's look at the word expand here.
Yeah, so like my waistline,
Come on.
for something to expand, it means to increase, right? Either the extent, the number, or the volume of something. It's when something enlarges or extends.
그렇죠. 뭔가 이렇게 늘어난다라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 expand하고 extend도 좀 헷갈릴 수 있는데요. extend는 보통 기간을 늘릴 때 쓰는 말이고 expand는 어떤 뭐 부피가 커진다든지 여기서는 범위나 한도가 커지거나 규모가 커질 때 쓰는 표현이 되겠어요. 그래서 exports have expanded라고 하면은 수출액이 증가했다라는 뜻이 되겠고 consecutive.
Yeah, when something's consecutive, it means it's following one after the other in succession or in sequence.
연속이란 뜻이죠. 그래서 consecutive 앞에 숫자가 나오고요. 11 consecutive months라고 하면은 11개월 연속이란 뜻이 되겠습니다. Here's the headline again. The country's exports expanded by more than 10% in August from a year earlier, marking 11 consecutive months of growth, according to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy. Let's move on to the next headline.
The outstanding balance of mortgages at 5 major banks reached over 567 trillion won as of August 29th, marking a sharp rise of more than 7 trillion won for the second consecutive month.
국내 5대 은행의 주택담보대출 잔액이 지난 8월 29일 기준으로 567조 원을 넘어서면서 2달 연속 7조 원 이상 급등하는 모습을 보였습니다. Now, when we're talking about money,
Yes.
if you have an outstanding balance, that isn't an outstanding thing, is it?
Yeah, if something's outstanding, it means it's unpaid,
Right.
right? It's continuing to exist. So
Right.
my credit card balance, you have a balance of X number of dollars or won that is outstanding, which means it's unpaid.
It's unpaid. 돈에 관해서 outstanding하다라고 하면은요, 지불되지 않았다라는 뜻이 있습니다. 그래서 미지불이라는 의미가 있어요. 그러나 우리가 평소에는 outstanding이라고 하면 뛰어나다. 라는 굉장히 좋은 칭찬으로 많이 쓰거든요.
It means you stand out from the crowd, right?
Exactly. 네, 그렇습니다. 그래서 I tried to play with those words there by saying having an and I can't say it
And
now.
outstanding. Yeah.
왜 발음이 안 되죠? outstanding. 이제 되네요.
Yeah.
그래서 having an outstanding balance is not an outstanding thing.
Wow. That's words to live by.
사서 고생을 하는 스타일이라. 자, 내용을 좀 더 살펴보죠.
Yeah. So if you look at household credit in Korea, it's very large, right? And it's showing no signs of slowing down at this point. If you look at numbers in July, household credit or these outstanding mortgages rose by 7.59 trillion. And this month alone, we're already at over 7 trillion as of August 29th. And if you include possibly the last couple of days, it could surpass 8 trillion if you take into account that more stricter, or I should say stricter, rules are up ahead in September that will limit loans or make it harder to get loans. So there could have been a mass rush to get more loans. So it could surpass 8 trillion. But in any case, housing transactions are on the rise right now, which is good for the property market. But that means more people are taking out these mortgages and they're having to borrow. And the exact number is 567 trillion won is the current outstanding balance right now.
지금 얘기했던 그 7조 원은 다달이 그 전달에 비해서 이 은행의 주택담보대출 잔액이 얼마나 늘었느냐 이 얘기를 하고 있는 거죠. 그러면 우리 이제 balance라는 표현도 나왔었는데 이제 이게 잔액, 잔고라는 뜻입니다. 또 다른 은행 관련, 돈 관련된 표현을 좀 볼게요. Mortgage.
Yeah. So first of all, pronouncing this word, the T is silent there, right? So it's mortgage. A mortgage is slightly different from a loan. It's technically it's a conveyance or a lien against property.
Yes.
Where you borrow. Mortgages in the U.S. Property market are fairly common. You can have 5, 10, even 30-year mortgages.
Sure.
And they're mostly having to do with property, where the property itself is the collateral.
That's
against your borrowing.
우리는 이제 모기지라고 하죠. 그래서 모기지론이라고 하는 게 영어식으로 이제 mortgage loan인데요. 발음은요, mortgage, two syllable, 두 음절입니다. 그리고 mortgage 이렇게 발음을 앞에 강세가 있게 하면 되겠고요. 가운데 T가 들어가는데 이건 발음하지 않습니다. mortgage 발음은 그렇고 뜻은 주택담보라고 보시면 되겠죠. 그래서 주택담보 대출을 mortgage loan, loan이 대출이니까요. sharp rise도 한번 볼까요?
Yeah, if something in this case, sharp would mean something sudden or abrupt, and a rise would be an increase or a hike.
그렇죠. sharp는 급격하다, rise는 증가가 되겠습니다. 자, 그러면 이 mortgage라는 표현 조금 더 추가 설명을 드리자면 mortgage loan이라는 표현이 원래는 full expression이지만 그냥 mortgage라고 해도 주택담보대출, 주택융자가 된다는 점을 기억하시면 되겠습니다. Well, here's the headline again. The outstanding balance of mortgages at 5 major banks reached over 567 trillion won as of August 29th, marking a sharp rise of more than 7 trillion won for the second consecutive month. 여기도 그 연속 2달이라는 표현이 나왔네요.
UN agencies and local health officials in the Gaza Strip have launched an ambitious campaign to vaccinate 640,000 children against polio.
가자 지구의 유엔 단체들과 현지 보건당국이 64만 명의 어린이들을 대상으로 소아마비 예방 접종을 실시하는 대대적인 캠페인을 시작했습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, this comes after the first confirmed case of polio was discovered recently. First time in a quarter century, in fact. And what UN experts are saying is that more children are likely to be infected. If you're, I'm not a doctor, obviously, but if you're aware of polio, it's spread from person to person. It's a virus. And it's spread either orally or through fecal matter from contaminated water, food. Usually it's a sign of poor hygiene because, normally you would think polio, the human race has eradicated polio, you would think, after
Yeah.
the discovery of the vaccine, Jonas Salk, you remember. But it's a telling sign of the situation and the conditions in Gaza right now. The fact that children are suffering from polio and it's been discovered here is very troubling.
네, 이렇게 가자 지구에서 25년 만에 처음으로 소아마비가 다시 나타났다라는 소식인데, 이제 25년이라는 말 대신에 영어식으로는 100년의 4분의 1.
Uh-huh.
우리는 이렇게 표현은 안 하는데 영어에서는 굉장히 흔히 분수를 써가지고 몇 년, 몇 시, 몇 달 이런 식으로 표현을 해요. 뭐 돈도 그렇고. 그래서 a quarter century라고 하면은 25년이라고 보시면
It's like a
되겠습니다.
quarter pounder.
A quarter pounder.
A hamburger.
Yes,
right?
yes, I know. 그렇죠. 거기서 파운드는 원래 이제 무게를 말하는데
Yeah.
한 파운드가 뭐 몇 그램인지 잘 모르겠지만 그것의 4분의 1에 해당되는 꽤나 두툼한
In case you were wondering.
그
yes.
고기다 이 뜻이 되겠습니다. 자, it's an ambitious campaign going on over there in the Gaza Strip. Let's have a look at that.
Yeah, ambitious has two meanings. Normally, if you say you're an ambitious student, you're desiring success. You're very determined, earnest. In this case, though, ambitious would mean something that's very demanding, challenging, or a bold sort of effort. Campaign here is a movement or an operation to try and get to some sort of particular result. So it's going to be a daunting task to try and vaccinate all these children in Gaza.
Yeah. As a student, were you an ambitious student?
I was not. I was probably an underachiever.
Oh, okay.
There are people that are overachievers,
Yeah.
but I just got by, I think.
You're very modest. Ambitious 그러면은 야망이 있고 야심차다라는 뜻으로 사람한테도 많이 쓰거든요. 그래서 늘 이기길 좋아하고 이러는 학생한테 쓸 수 있는데 선생님은 그런 학생은 아니셨다고 이렇게 표현을 하셨습니다. 왠지 늘 양보하시고 그랬을 것 같긴 해요. 난 욕심 없어.
I'm competitive in
그래요?
certain realms, but maybe not with academics. I was a good team player.
좋습니다. 네. 자, 근데 여기서는 ambitious campaign이에요. 그래서 야심찬 캠페인 또는 대대적인 캠페인이라고도 해석을 할 수 있습니다. 그러니까 많은 아이들에게 이 백신을 제공하는 것이기 때문에 그렇게 표현을 하고 있는 것이고, 자, 어떤 백신인가요? 소아마비 백신입니다.
Yeah, polio. I
Polio.
mentioned a life-threatening disease caused by a virus that actually attacks the nervous system.
Yes. Polio. polio. 이게 바로 소아마비가 되겠습니다. Here's the headline again. UN agencies and local health officials in the Gaza Strip have launched an ambitious campaign to vaccinate 640,000 children against polio. Let's move on to the next headline.
A growing body of scientific evidence shows that microplastics are accumulating in critical human organs, including the brain, leading researchers to call for more urgent actions to rein in plastic pollution.
미세 플라스틱이 뇌를 비롯한 인간의 주요 장기에 쌓이고 있다는 과학적 증거가 늘어남에 따라 학자들은 플라스틱 공해를 억제할 방안이 보다 시급히 마련돼야 한다고 촉구했습니다. We're hearing more and more stories about microplastics.
We're still in the early
In our
stages.
system, yeah.
Yeah, and these studies are showing that these tiny shards, specks of plastic, we're talking specks as small as 5 millimeters. Anything smaller than 5 millimeters is considered a microplastic, but they're being discovered in human lungs, placentas, reproductive organs, even knee and elbow joints, as well as bone marrow and the brain. So one researcher in Turkey is saying that it's now time to declare a global emergency because researchers are in the early stages of seeing what the harmful effects of what these can do to the human body. Some studies are suggesting that it can increase the conditions of oxidative stress, which could lead to cell damage and inflammation, as well as cardiovascular diseases with the heart. And another paper also showed that microplastics in brain samples are increasing at the same rate as what we're finding in the environment as well. So there's a direct correlation there.
This can affect health, both physical and mental, it looks
Yeah.
like.
So now there's a trend of, industries and companies banning microplastics. I remember when they first came out in, for example, facial cleansers, you had these micro beads.
Oh,
You
yeah,
remember?
yeah,
And
yeah.
they give you that scrubbing effect, but, they don't decompose and they harm not just marine life, but also humans as
Oh
well.
dear. Well, we're looking at the microplastics affecting critical human organs.
Yeah. So if something's critical, it's extremely important. It's crucial or vital. And an organ in your body would be the word here, organ, comes from the Latin word organum, meaning an instrument or a tool. But basically, it's a collection of tissues that form a functional unit. So we're talking about your heart, your kidneys, your lungs, for example. These are all organs or tools in your body.
그렇죠. 아, organ이라는 단어가 원래는 악기를 뜻하는 단어에서 왔군요. 아, 그런데 이제 이게 어떤 장치가 될 수도 있고 사람의 몸에 있어서는 장기가 되겠습니다. Human organs, 인간의 장기 중에서 critical한 것들, 굉장히 중요하다는 뜻이에요. 그래서 주요 장기라고 표현을 할 수 있겠죠.
Organ donations.
Yes.
If you're an organ donor,
Yep.
that means you agree when you pass away that you'll, give your organs to someone that in need for a transplant.
Exactly. So a person who donates their organs is an organ donor, and the action itself is an organ donation, is it?
And then, or an organ transplant
Or a
to another
transplant.
to another person. Yeah.
아, 그래요. 그래서 그 organ 역시 사람의 장기를 말합니다. 우리 장기 기증할 때 organ 그 장기 기증자, organ donor라고 합니다. 자, 그 다음 표현으로 to rein something in이라는 표현을 좀 보고 싶은데요.
Yeah, rein, R-E-I-N. Normally, the reins are when you ride a horse.
Yeah.
It's the straps that you control the horse with. So when you rein in something, you're limiting or controlling it, or perhaps directing it like you're steering the horse.
그렇죠. 고삐인가요? 우리가 이제 보통 말 탈 때 당기잖아요. 그래서 rein in이라는 것은 통제한다라는 의미가 있을 수 있고 뭔가를 억제한다라는 의미가 될 수도 있습니다. 뒤에 나온 표현이 rein in plastic pollution이에요. 그러니까 플라스틱 오염을 우리가 통제하고 억제하기 위한 여러 가지 움직임이 필요하다. 이 얘기가 되겠죠.
I'm not 100% certain on this, but Rudolph, the
Yes.
red-nosed reindeer, I imagine it's a type of deer where you use reins. Is that why it's a reindeer?
I don't know. Possibly. 우리 술록이라고 하는 그 사슴처럼 생긴 예. 그게 이제 영어로는 reindeer죠. 근데 그 reindeer라는 단어가 뭔가 이렇게 사람이
It's like Santa Claus
네,
uses reins with his
레인을
reindeer.
써서 그런 건가? 그까지는 저희가 모르겠지만 좀 추측을 한번 해봤습니다. 근데 스펠링은 그 reindeer랑 이 rain이랑 똑같아요. E-I-N. rain 띄고 in. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A growing body of scientific evidence shows that microplastics are accumulating in critical human organs, including the brain, leading researchers to call for more urgent actions to rein in plastic pollution. Now let's move on to the final headline.
More than 1 million restaurants have closed their doors in China in recent months due to a flagging economy and a shift in consumer preference towards takeout.
중국에서 경기 침체가 이어지고 포장 음식에 대한 선호가 늘면서 최근 몇 달 사이 100만 개가 넘는 식당이 폐업한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah. So if you look at the industry data coming out of China, more than 1 million food and beverage outlets, including 30,000 noodle shops, have shut down just in the first half of this year alone.
Wow,
So,
just in from the January to June period.
yes.
Oh,
So
wow,
the
wow.
scale of closures
lot,
is
yeah.
enormous right now. And a lot of pundits in the US especially are saying that a lot of this has to do with the local governments in China, how their budgets and their coffers are being depleted after their zero COVID sort of policies, which ended at the end of 2022. And many state employees have had their salaries and bonuses cut or are not even being paid at all amid this economic downturn. So what the habits of consumers in China are is instead of going out to eat food, they're having food delivered because the number of delivery riders has spiked in recent months, and also the overall earnings in the catering sector have fell by 2.9%, but the number of employees in the delivery sector and takeout sector have risen by nearly 50%.
오케이. 아무래도 이제 코로나 때 중국에서는 그 봉쇄 조치가 좀 굉장히 엄격하게 내려졌었고 그로 인해서 그때 당시에는 여러 가지 보조금도 나오고 지역 정부에서 많은 경제적인 도움을 지역 상인들에게도 줬을 것 같은데 지금은 그게 다 어느 정도 끊긴 것 같아요. 그래서 펀디트는 전문가라는 뜻인데 펀디트들에 의하면은 지금 현재는 대부분의 사람들이 이제 포장 음식을 선호하지 예전처럼 식당에 가서 먹거나 그러지는 않는다. 그래서 너무나 이게 큰 타격을 줘서 올 상반기 1월부터 6월 사이에만 한 100만 개가 넘는 식당이 폐업을 했다.
Yeah, I saw another news report recently where a lot of even very highly rated restaurants by a certain rating agency, starting with M, are offering lunch specials that are just a fraction of the price because people are just simply not going out to eat in China.
그렇군요. 자, 그런가 하면은 테이크아웃에 대한 선호도는 점점 좋아지고 올라가고 있고요. 경제는 flagging하고 있습니다.
Yeah. So if something's flagging in this case, it means it's declining either in interest or in value. So you could say it's declining, it's waning, the economy's flailing as well. It's weakening.
weakening이라는 뜻입니다. flagging, F-L-A-G-G-I-N-G. 약해지고 있다라는 뜻이 되겠고요. takeout가 이게 바로 포장 음식이죠.
Yeah, it's used as a noun here. So it's one word, takeout. It's any food packaged or prepared to be consumed away from the place where you normally buy it.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's why in England we call
Yeah.
it takeaway.
is it takeaway? I was
Yeah.
going to ask you that actually,
Yeah.
but in North America it's takeout. So you can say, "Hey Sue, let's go get takeout today." Right? You
sounds
just use it
awkward.
as a noun. So you say, is it one word, takeaway?
I think so. Yeah. One word as a noun.
Yeah. I'm feeling lazy today. Let's go get takeaway. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Not sure about the accent. 네, 그렇습니다. 북미권과 영국에서는 좀 다른 단어를 쓰는데요. 포장 음식이 북미권에서는 한 단어, take out.
I would like to point out also in Korea you say to go as well, right? So
맞아요. 네.
you say to go 음식, right? But normally in English you would say I would like my food to go. So it's used as a verb,
That's
not
right.
as a noun.
문장 속에 이 음식 제가 포장해 갈게요. I would like this food to go. 이런 식으로 문장을 만들어서 to go를 많이 쓰는 거죠. I want to go. 이렇게는 잘 안 하죠.
Yeah, then you'd say,
wh-
where are you
where?
going?
Where
right?
do you wanna go?
Or you could say, you ask your server, can I get it to go? Right?
Okay.
You would
Can
say
I
like
get
that.
it to go?
Right.
이렇게 표현할 수도 있습니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. More than 1 million restaurants have closed their doors in China in recent months due to a flagging economy and a shift in consumer preference towards takeout. And that's it for our headlines with Shane.
Korea's average daily maximum power demand reached a new high in August as the country experienced scorching summer heat that persisted throughout the month.
8월 한 달 내내 지속된 폭염으로 인해 국내 평균 최대 전력 수요가 지난달 역대 최고치를 경신했습니다. Well, it was hot, so I was expecting it, to be in the news, and
Yes.
so here it is. Tell us more about these stats.
Sure, we're looking at the maximum power demand or peak power demand. And so this is the highest level of electricity consumption in the day. So when everybody's using it.
Yeah.
And it was averaging a record 87.8 gigawatts in August. That was up on year by 6.1%. Last August, it was 82.7 gigawatts.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear why it's gone up. It's because it's been a very, very hot summer. We've had lots of tropical nights, some places even super tropical nights. And so people have been using cooling devices, air conditioners, and so on. According to the KMA, the Korea Meteorological Administration, August had 16 heat wave days. So over half the month, Sue.
Yeah.
And that means there was a high of 33 degrees Celsius or more. It's the second highest since 1994, which had 16.6. Almost there. Not quite, though. Maybe next year.
Yeah, we've had stories about this summer being the hottest on record, and more evidence of that is that electricity demand was also extremely high. And as we can see here, the average maximum power demand for a day, 우리말로는 이제 최대 전력 수요라고 하는데요. The average demand was actually way higher this year than last year. No surprises there. 네, 작년보다 역시 이 최대 전력 수요가 굉장히 이번에 높았습니다. 이 최대 전력 수요라는 것은 하루 중에 가장 전력 수요가 높을 때가 어느 정도인지를 측정하는 것인데 모든 데이터를 봤을 때 우리가 체감을 하기도 하지만 올여름이 정말 더웠습니다. 자, 그 표현을 한번 볼게요. It was scorching.
Yeah, let's
It was
talk about
really hot.
Let's talk about breakfast, Sue.
Okay.
For those of you who are having rice, maybe cooked in the traditional way in a stone pot, what have you got at the bottom?
누룽지.
Which in English is scorched rice. Scorched meaning burnt. If something is scorching, it's burning hot. So if something is scorched, I mean, 누룽지 is not really burnt. It's
Yeah.
just nice and brown and crispy.
Yep.
But we can say if something is scorched, it's like it's turned black on the surface. It's been burnt.
그렇죠. burnt라고 하면은 그냥 새까맣게 태운 거죠. scorched도 원래는 태운다라는 의미가 있지만 그거보다는 약한가요?
Yeah, it's a
burnt보다는
little less.
조금 약해요.
And we use it for weather. We don't say burning hot so much. You could, but it's a little odd. We use
Yeah.
burning hot for something that would actually burn us. But when it's a really hot day, we can say the weather is scorching hot.
그렇습니다. 자, 그래서 뭐 그을린다, 약간 태운다라는 느낌의 스코칭을 날씨와 관련해서 굉장히 더울 때 많이 쓰고요. 누룽지도 역시 이렇게 누룽지, 약간 누른 요런 것들을 영어로는 scorched rice 이렇게 표현을 하는 모양이에요. 이것도 이제 계속 한류가 전 세계적으로 전파가 되면은 scorched rice 이런 말도 쓸 필요 없이 그냥 누룽지 하면은 다 이해하게 될 겁니다. 자, 그래도 이 scorch라는 단어 알아두면 유용하고요. 여기서는 scorching summer,
네.
굉장히 더운 여름이란 뜻이고 this persisted.
Yes. I can never get the pronunciation. Persist?
No, I want you to try harder.
Persist?
Can you try again?
Persist?
Don't give up.
Bazooz?
Almost there.
Persisi?
A little bit more.
Persist?
Yes.
Oh, I got there, but I had to try really hard to
You
get there.
persisted.
I did persist. If we persist, we keep on going until we get whatever we want to do, or we do whatever we want to do.
네, 끈질기게 뭔가를 할 때 persist 한다라고 합니다. 그래서 지금 선생님이 예시로 포기하지 않고 이 단어 발음하는 거를 보여주셨죠.
Yeah, but be careful because we can use it negatively.
Yeah.
Like here, a persistent summer, your cough can persist.
Yes.
Your illness can persist. So we can use it in a negative way as well as in a positive way.
아, 그렇죠. 그러니까 앞서 나온 단어가 heat입니다. scorching summer heat. 이렇게 한 덩어리로 보면 되겠네요. 굉장히 더운 여름 열기가 persisted, 끈질기게 이어진 그런 여름이었습니다. Tropical Nights 열대야도 너무나 오래 지속이 됐었고요. 그러다 보니 전력 수요도 상당히 높았다. 다시 제가 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's average daily maximum power demand reached a new high in August as the country experienced scorching summer heat that persisted throughout the month. Let's move on to the second headline.
Nearly 43% of Koreans aged 20 to 49 do not plan to have children, though many might reconsider if government policies and corporate support improved, according to a survey.
설문조사 결과 우리나라 20에서 49세 남녀 43% 가까이가 아이를 가질 계획이 없는 것으로 나타난 가운데 이 중 많은 수는 정부 정책과 기업 지원이 대폭 확대될 경우 출산을 고려할 수 있다고 답했습니다. So people are choosing not to have children, but they could change their mind. Tell us more.
They could. I mean, it's women more than men.
Yeah.
52.9% of the women responding to the survey said they had no intention of having kids. The reasons were like not feeling the need to have them, lacking the financial means, or also the cost of raising a child and the education cost. So a lot of the top reasons for both men and women were financial burdens. However, they said if there's changes in government policy, if there was more support from businesses, corporate support, then the 62.2% who were unsure might change their minds. 44.1% of them might actually think about having a family.
설문조사 결과 이제 아이를 낳을 생각이 있느냐라는 것에 대해서 응답자의 53% 정도는 있다라고 대답을 했고요. 그다음에 27%가 그럴 생각이 없다. 그리고 19%는 모르겠다라고 답을 했답니다. 근데 이제 여성들이 조금 더 그 부정적인 생각을 가지고 있었고요. 출산에 대해서. 그러나 여러 가지 정책이 좀 바뀌고 지원도 받을 수 있다면 다시 생각해 볼 수도 있겠다. 이 얘기군요. 자, 이렇게 재고하는 거를 영어로는 reconsidering이라고 하는데 이 앞에 might가 들어갔어요. might reconsider.
I don't really want to explain this unless
You might
unless you were to ask me really politely, and then I might think again. I might change my mind.
Mr. Paul Matthews, would it be possible for you to explain what might consider means? Might you consider explaining to us what this means, please?
I may, I will, I am, I have reconsidered. I will explain it to you.
Thank you so much.
So to reconsider something is to think about it again. And we use this when we're changing our mind or when we might change our mind. And might meaning may. It's possible. It doesn't mean it's a certainty. It's not 100%. It could be 50-50 or 70-30. The point is it could or could not happen. So in the case of this survey, if there was more support, if there was more government funding, some couples could choose to have children.
Yeah.
Then again, they still might not.
자, might라는 것은 할 수도 있다. reconsider, 다시 생각하는 것, 재고죠. 그러니까 다시 생각할 수도 있어요. I might reconsider. 자, 이렇게 쓰고요. 저처럼 그 정중하게 물어볼 때는 might I ask you
Yeah.
to reconsider? 이렇게 말할 수도 있고요. Could you please reconsider? 이렇게 물어볼 수도
Yes.
있습니다.
Might I offer you a coffee this morning?
Sure.
Might
why
I
not?
offer you a donut?
No, thank you.
Okay.
자, 그 다음에는 이제 정부의 정책뿐만 아니라 다니고 있는 회사에서 뭐 지원금이 나온다든지 이러면은 또 고려하겠다 이런 얘기도 있었거든요. 그걸 영어로는 corporate support라고 합니다.
Yeah. So let's deal with support first. So support is some kind of help. But here in this headline, we're looking at financial support or
Yep.
maybe extra days off, maybe more paternity leave,
Sure.
maternity leave. And corporate is from a corporation, meaning a private business of some sort.
That's right.
So we're distinguishing between government support and corporate support.
네, 기업의 지원이니까 회사에서 여러 가지로 출산에 대한 그 배려, 뭐 장려 그런 정책들이 회사 내에 있다라고 하면은 또 고려해 볼 만하다 이런 얘기였네요. 다시 한번 들어보겠습니다. Nearly 43% of Koreans aged 20 to 49 do not plan to have children, although many might consider, or might reconsider, if government policies and corporate support improved, according to a survey.
Tens of thousands of Israelis surged into the streets on Sunday after 6 more hostages were found dead in Gaza, as they demanded that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reach a ceasefire with Hamas to bring the remaining captives home.
가자 지구에서 이스라엘 인질 6명이 추가로 희생되면서 지난 일요일 수십만 명의 이스라엘 국민들이 거리 시위를 벌이며 남은 인질을 구출할 수 있도록 베냐민 네타냐후 총리가 하마스와 휴전해야 한다고 촉구했습니다. 자, 예리하신 분들은 캐치하셨겠지만 영어에서는 tens of thousands라고 했고요. 우리말로는 수십만이라고 했어요. 자, 이 숫자를 그냥 단순 비교했을 때는 맞지 않습니다.
네.
tens of thousands 그러면 수만 명이거든요. 직역을 하면. 그러나 지금 여기 뉴스이기 때문에 저희가 여러 가지 소식들을 좀 종합해서 지금 사실 많은 한글 기사에서는 70만 명으로 보고 있다라는 기사들이 압도적으로 많기 때문에 그래서 저희가 수십만 명으로 그런 이제 뉴스의 분위기를 살려서 넣어봤고요. 영어에는 조금 갈려요. 이제 어떤 곳은 그야말로 hundreds of thousands,
Yes.
sorry, S 붙여서 이렇게 쓰는 곳들도 있지만 일단 이제 BBC라든지 이런 대표적인 미디어에서는 tens of thousands라고 하고 있어서
네.
일단 이렇게 표현을 했습니다만 이 왜 이런 차이가 나냐면은요 시위하는 사람들이 말하는 참가자들의 숫자와 정부에서 말하는 시위자의 참가자 숫자가 굉장히 많이 다릅니다.
Yeah, we're seeing a big difference. There is usually a difference, whether it's in Israel, the UK, the US, here in Korea. I think the official number and the number issued by the protesters there will always be a disparity.
맞습니다.
So it's good to clear that up. But
네.
that said, it seems to be the largest demonstration they've had in this 11 months of war. This is a very big deal in Israel.
뭐 CNN도 마찬가지로 정부에서는 조금 축소해서 시위에 참가한 사람들의 숫자를 몇만 명 이렇게 보고 있는 것 같은데 실제로 이제 시위와 관련된 그쪽 측의 얘기들을 들어보면은 뭐 70만 명 정도로 추산이 된다 이런 얘기를 해요. 자, tell us more. 정말 규모가 큰데요. 어떤 내용이에요?
We're coming up to the first anniversary. October 7th. It's that terrible attack, that terrorist attack by Hamas. And we've had 11 months of war. And it seems like there's a number of Israeli people who have had enough. Certainly Israel's largest trade union, the Histadrut, they called for a general strike. That started yesterday,
Right.
which is shutting down and disrupting schools, banking, healthcare, the airport, all sorts. And it all comes down to the fact that there are still hostages in Gaza. And there have been ceasefire negotiations, but they've been dragging on and on and on. And a lot of people on the side of the protesters are blaming Netanyahu, that he's been unable or unwilling to get a deal. But he has kept on saying, but we have to beat Hamas first. We have to totally defeat Hamas before we can do anything else. But then we have these 6 hostages, including one Israeli American, who were scheduled to be released as part of the ceasefire proposal that was going on in July, but they've been found dead. And I think this has really angered and frustrated many, many people in Israel. That said, there are many people on the other side. It's a divided country right now.
네, 풀려나기로 약속이 됐었던 인질 6명이 모두 다 희생이 된 채로 가자지구에서 발견이 됐습니다. 자, 그로 인해서 상당히 큰 규모의 시위가 지금 일고 있다라는 내용이고요. 그 표현을 좀 영어로 볼게요. A lot of people surged into the streets.
Yeah, means lots of people rushed in at the same time, a very large amount of people. If we take the example of a wave surging to shore, it's the feeling of hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people suddenly coming onto the streets.
자, 그래요. 여기서 surge라는 것은 파도가 이렇게 갑자기 커지는 것처럼 무언가가 갑자기 늘어날 때 많이 쓰는 표현인데 사람들이요. 거리로 쏟아져 나왔다라고 해석을 하면 됩니다. People surged into the streets. 근데 이거를 또 다르게 해석을 하면 시위를 했다. 이렇게 해석을 하면 되겠죠. What's a captive, Paul?
Well, captive is a prisoner. But normally, if you've been legally detained by the government for a crime and you've been tried in a court of law, you're a prisoner. However, if you're taken hostage by an opposing force, you would be a captive. So there is a difference between the two, but they both mean that you are imprisoned. You cannot leave.
You've been captured. Captive, 이거 명사고요. 포로, 인질이라는 뜻입니다. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. Tens of thousands of Israelis surged into the streets on Sunday after 6 more hostages were found dead in Gaza as they demanded that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reach a ceasefire with Hamas to bring the remaining captives home. Here's our next headline.
A US food manufacturer has sparked controversy and anger among Italians after it introduced spaghetti carbonara in a can.
미국의 한 식품 기업이 통조림 까르보나라를 출시한다는 소식에 이탈리아인들이 강한 반발과 분노를 표시했습니다. Now, Italians take their food very seriously.
Yeah. And so
don't they?
on behalf of Cesargine Morning Special and EBS Radio, I'd like to apologize in advance to any Italians listening for the pain, the culinary pain this may cause them.
We're not causing the pain, but we will be
But
delivering.
this item is causing pain.
All right.
I mean, first of all, let's just look at what it says on the tin. Pasta in a creamy sauce with pancetta. That is not carbonara. 24 years ago when I came to Korea, carbonara was a cream sauce. Now I think many restaurants have learnt what it really is because pasta carbonara or pasta alla carbonara is made with guanciale, which is a pig cheek bacon, plus pecorino cheese, which is similar to parmesan but has a stronger taste, and eggs.
Yeah.
No cream in sight.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
eggs, cheese, and pork, and maybe some black pepper. That's it. So there's one Italian chef who has said the company should be ashamed of themselves, that they're destroying Italian culture and cuisine. And I have to say, Europeans get very, very angry when other countries try to mess with their food.
Yeah.
I remember when Jamie Oliver, the British celebrity chef, made paella, but it wasn't proper paella. Spanish chefs got very angry as
Yeah.
well.
Exactly. Same with fried rice.
Yes.
But yeah, if you take something seriously, in Korean we would say 무엇을 아주 진지하게 생각하다. 근데 Italians take their food, especially their pasta, very seriously. Okay, so this latest canned carbonara has sparked controversy.
Yes. So a controversy is some kind of big dispute, argument, a fuss where everybody's fighting amongst each other about what is right or wrong.
Yep.
And if it sparks a controversy, it's like a lighter or a match. Setting fire to something is a little spark, which means it sets the fire going. So think of the controversy as the big flaming fire and the tin as the spark.
네, 불을 붙이는 거를요 동사 spark를 써서 표현할 수 있습니다. 그리고 지금 선생님과 저는 둘 다 controversy라고 발음을 하지만 북미권에서는 controversy 이렇게 발음하나요?
I always get confused.
그러니까 악센트가 좀 달라요.
네.
네, 그래서 그 강세가 좀 다릅니다. 그러나 둘 다 가능한 발음이라는 거. 자, 그 다음에는 introduce.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Jae Soo Jin. That's one form of introduce, meaning you introduce someone to somebody or to a group of people.
Yeah.
But here it's a product, and here it's a company. So in this case, they've introduced it to the market. They've started selling it. They've started promoting it. So it's a little bit different to introducing yourself to someone, but it has that same idea that these people or that person is seeing something new, something for the first time.
네, 소개하다 또는 도입하다, introduce. 그래서 미국의 한 그 식품 기업이 이 통조림 까르보나라를 이렇게 출시하는 거죠. 그랬더니 이탈리아인들이 굉장히 분노를 하고 있는데 저는 예전에 이탈리아인들이 이게 손동작 하는 게 있잖아요. 이렇게 뭐 맘마미야 할 때 요거는 그냥 언제나 쓰는 줄 알았더니 그게 아니라 화날 때 쓴다면서요.
Yeah, and you have to be very careful about how you use your hands because some gestures are a lot ruder than others.
그래요? 그렇구나.
Yes.
그래서 저는 뭐 띠야모 이렇게 하면 되는 줄 알았더니 이거 뭐 사랑해 할 때는 이런 거 쓰는 게 아니구나. 예, 이거 화났을 때 또 지금 이런 경우에 맘마미야 하면서 이건 나쁜 건 아니죠, 선생님? 이렇게 손 이렇게 하는 거.
I
조심해야
think you're
돼요?
okay with that.
조심되나?
just be careful.
알겠습니다.
That
잘
said,
몰랐어.
I will be introducing a carbonara flavored donut into the Korean market in the near future.
어서 서둘러서 헤드라인 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A U.S. food manufacturer has sparked controversy and anger among Italians after it introduced spaghetti carbonara in a can. Well, moving on, here's our final headline.
A motion has been submitted to the autumn meeting of the Swedish church to ban the practice of fathers handing over their daughters at the altar.
스웨덴 교회 가을 총회에서 결혼식 때 아버지가 신부를 인도하는 관행을 금지하는 안건이 발의됐습니다. Tell us more.
Well, this is not Swedish tradition. They call it the Hollywood tradition because traditionally in Sweden it's the bride and groom walking down the aisle together. So
see.
there's been this controversy for a little while. It's been simmering for a little while.
Yep.
Back in 2010, Princess Victoria, Sweden's crown princess, was walked down the aisle by her father, King Carl Gustaf. So
Okay.
there was some argument then. Now there's this big decision about whether a bride can walk down the aisle with a father. At the moment, it's down to the priest. But there are members of the church who think it should be allowed and members of the church who think it shouldn't be allowed. This autumn, we'll see what happens, but I think there's going to be a fiery debate when it comes to what is proper for a Swedish wedding ceremony.
Exactly. 자, 스웨덴에서는 전통적으로 신랑 신부가 같이 아일에 걸어 내려오는 게 그 나라의 방식인데 요즘은 워낙 다 이제 미국 방식을 따라하다 보니까 아버지가 신부의 손을 잡고 들어오는 그런 미국 방식을 많이들 채택한다는 거죠. 근데 이제 스웨덴에서 우리 이러지 말자. 원래 우리나라에서 하던 대로 신랑 신부가 들어오는 방식을 좀 고수하는 그런 모습이라고 볼 수 있겠고요. 이게 그대로 그 문화를 유지하려고 하는 그런 좋은 모습이겠죠. 자, 첫 번째 표현은요. 이거 좀 어려운 건데, 그 motion이라는 단어입니다. 우리가 법률에서 말하는 motion은 그냥 motion이랑 다르죠. 요코 motion
Wave, punch.
말고.
Move your arm. No, it's not that
네,
kind of
네,
thing.
그거 아니고요.
It's a formal proposal of some kind. You're suggesting something at a meeting or to a government. So it's going to be a plan, or it's going to be an idea, or it could even be a new law. But what you do is you propose it in front of a group of people, an official group, and then they will decide on whether to accept it or not.
여기서는 안건이라고 보시면 될 것 같아요. 발의될 그런 안건, 그것을 motion이라고 합니다. 자, 그 다음에 handing someone over.
Yes, or Sue's handing over the explanation to me.
Yes.
Meaning she's giving it to me. She's passing it from herself to myself. So when you hand over a coffee to a friend that you bought at the store and you've brought it to them, or you hand over a pencil to a friend who needs one, that means you're giving it to them. But we also use it in the traditional patriarchal marriage where the father hands over the bride to the groom.
Yes, hand over something or hand over someone, something과 someone 다 되고요. 순서도 hand something over 이렇게 hand over 사이에다가 무엇을 넘겨주는지 표현해도 됩니다. 넘겨주다라는 뜻이에요. 그래서 아버지가 딸을 이렇게 건네주는 것을 the father handing over his daughter라고 표현하고 그 다음에 제가 I'm going to hand over the mic to you, Paul.
Why, thank you, Sue. I'd just like to say it's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm very happy, as always, to be here on a Tuesday for EBS's Chasey Gin Morning Special. I'll
Please,
hand
if you
back
can.
to Sue.
Thank you very much. I was going to say, please. 자, 그래서 handover는 무언가를 건네주다, 마이크를 건네주다 할 때도 역시 이렇게 똑같이 쓸 수 있습니다.
Yeah, and in a job, if you're working a shift, if you're a security guard, you hand over to the next person.
Exactly. 다음 사람에게 이제 그 일을 넘겨줄 때도 역시 쓸 수 있고요. 하나만 더 말하자면은 이게 걸어 내려오는 곳을 영어로 aisle이라고 합니다. 우리 비행기에서도 복도가 aisle이죠. A-I-S-L-E.
Yes.
근데 우리나라에서 조금 콩글리시 표현으로 버진 로드 이렇게 표현할 때가 있는데요.
You don't want to say that anywhere outside of Korea.
영어로는 이 표현 쓰지 마세요.
No.
예. 왜냐하면은 이게 해석하면은 좀 그렇기도 하고 요즘에 이런 표현 요즘에 안 쓸 뿐만 아니라 이 단어도 잘 안 쓰고 원래 영어 표현 아니에요, 이거는. 그래서 아마 제가 알기로는 일본에서 처음 쓴 것 같아요. 이런
네.
말을. 그러다가 우리나라에 들어온 것 같은데 그냥 글쎄요. aisle이라는 말을 쓰면 좋은데 그렇다고 뭐 통로 이러면 좀 낭만이 없고 뭐 복도 이래도 좀 이상하지만 영어로는 aisle이라고 하면 됩니다. 우리말로는 뭐 알아서 하시면 되겠습니다.
Yeah, Sue, do you know why the couple who lived in Jeju City wanted to get married in Seogwipo?
Why?
They wanted to walk down the aisle.
The aisle. That's a different aisle.
ISLE, which means island.
Yes. Okay. 자, 그래서 스웨덴에서는 이런 움직임이 있다. 그 아버지가 신부를 인도하는 그 관행을 금지하자라는 그런 안건이 발의됐다고 합니다. Here's the headline again. A motion has been submitted to the autumn meeting of the Swedish Church to ban the practice of fathers handing over their daughters at the altar. And those were today's headlines.
Korea's consumer prices slowed to the lowest level in nearly 3.5 years in August on easing prices of farm produce and global oil, according to Statistics Korea.
농산물 물가와 국제유가가 하락하면서 8월 국내 소비자 물가 상승률이 3년 5개월 만에 가장 낮은 수준으로 둔화했다고 통계청이 발표했습니다. Well, tell us more.
Well, I think this is definitely good news ahead of the Chuseok holidays.
Yep.
It's always good to hear that consumer prices are kind of on the way down because we've seen, the prices go up in recent months and recent years. So they say that consumer prices, which was a key gauge of inflation, rose 2% on year last month. This is compared with a 2.6% on year rise a month earlier. And of course, this is data according to the Statistics Korea. And August's figure marked the slowest increase since March 2021 when consumer prices grew 1.9%. The finance ministry expects this year's prices to rise 2.6%. And they say that prices of agricultural, livestock, and fishery products went up 2.4% on year. Agricultural products in particular climbed 3.6%, markedly slowing from the previous month's 9% increase. So that's quite a bit of a drop up there. But prices of fruits remained high still, with those of apples surging 120.3% and prices of pears going up 17%. And they say that's because of bad harvest and, we're seeing global warming and weather changes. So that's been affecting the harvest. Prices of petroleum products inched up 0.1% on year in August, slowing from an 8.4% increase a month earlier on stabilizing global oil prices.
네. 물가가 그래도 물가 상승률이 좀 둔화했다라는 거는 서민들에게 반가운 소식일 텐데요. 모든 게 다 그 가격이 덜 올랐다라는 것은 물론 아닙니다. 그래서 과일 같은 경우는 아직 여전히 좀 많이 비싸고요. 그 외에도 물가 상승이 있지만 그래도 예전에 비해서 물가 상승률은 조금 둔화한 모습이다. 이 둔화했다 아니면 이제 속도가 좀 느려졌다라는 거를 영어로는요. 동사 slow라고 표현을 할 수 있습니다.
Yep. So slow, it's been used as a verb and it means to reduce speed or activity or to make something do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
자, 그래서 slow가 우리 뭐 형용사로도 많이 쓰지만 이렇게 동사로 쓸 수 있다는 거예요. 그래서 something slowed. 그러면은 무언가가 느려졌다, 속도가 떨어졌다. What about the noun? 이번에는 명사 하나 볼 텐데요.
Yeah.
Produce.
Yeah. So the pronunciation's a little bit different here. So when you produce something, it's used as a verb, but here it's produce and it's used as a noun. So this means things that have been produced or grown, especially by farming.
그렇죠. 여기서 말하는 거는 농작물, 농산품을 말하는데요. 이 발음이요. 명사일 때는 produce 이렇게 발음을 하고 동사로 우리가 뭔가 생산하다 할 때는 스펠링이 똑같지만 발음은 produce라고 합니다. 그래서 뭔가 만들어내는 사람, producer라고 하잖아요. 방송국에도 있고. 그런데 이제 요 produce가 이제 요게 헷갈릴 수 있습니다.
Yeah.
그래서 지금 보고 있는 거는 그 생산 그게 아니고요. 이제 생산품은 될 수 있어요. 명사니까.
Yeah.
네. 아니면 농작물이라는 의미로 많이 쓴다라는 거.
Yeah. So when you go to the supermarket or when you go to those discount chains, you'll see the produce aisle.
Yes.
And that's where you'll see the vegetables, the fresh vegetables, the fresh, the fruits, any sort of things that things that grow from the ground, that the vegetables, fruits, those things are in the produce aisle.
네, 그렇습니다. 북미권에서는 produce 이렇게 발음을 하고 영국에서는 produce라고 하는데 강세가 앞에 있다라는 건 똑같아요. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's consumer prices slowed to the lowest level in nearly 3.5 years in August on easing prices of farm produce and global oil, according to Statistics Korea. Now let's move on to the next headline.
The Ministry of Education has expanded its National Education Information System, allowing parents to report their children's absences and submit supporting documents online.
교육부는 학부모가 자녀의 결석 신고와 관련 증빙 자료 제출을 온라인으로 할 수 있도록 교육행정 정보 서비스 나이스를 개편했다고 밝혔습니다. Tell us more.
I did not get this memo.
Did you not?
Yeah, I did not get this memo. Okay, so it's supposed to streamline services, making it a little bit easier for both, I guess, parents and teachers to manage all of these, duties that they have to do, allowing parents to access school information. They can check their children's grades and records, apply for these off-campus experimental learning activities. This is what we call it when we want to take days off to go, on family excursions or family trips, and they can get excused days off. Children can get these days off. We call them off-campus experiential learning opportunities. So in the past, we would have to fill out these absent report forms and then attach these necessary supporting documents showing that either the child was sick or was at a certain place, was at a funeral or, whatever excuse that that they had. They had to show these documents and submit this entire bundle to the school.
Right.
And then the teachers would have to, of course, manually verify it and approve the documents and store them for future reference. So a lot of documentation, a lot of paperwork. But now it's become digitalized. They can do it online. And of course, it would kind of simplify the workflow for teachers, and it would simplify the process for a lot of parents as well. So they say that when you submit these absence reports and the supporting documents online, they're going to be reviewed and processed online. So it would eliminate the need to manage and store any of these physical copies of the documents
Yeah.
and papers and
And
stuff.
it makes sense because everything's becoming online.
Yeah.
그래요. 이제 이전에는 manually 손으로 직접 했다 이거예요.
Yep.
그래서 종이에다 써서 제출을 했다면은 이제 온라인으로도 이렇게 결석할 때 결석합니다. 그리고 결석에 대한 여러 가지 증빙 자료도 역시 온라인으로 제출을 할 수 있게 된다라는 내용이고요. 이 결석 보도록 하겠습니다. Absence.
Absence, yeah. So, when you're absent from something, and the absence means that it's basically the fact of not being where you are usually expected or where you are supposed to be.
그렇죠. 명사고요. absence라고 하면은 그 자체로 결석입니다. I was absent. 이렇게 문장 속에서는 나는 이제 결석을 했습니다. I was absent. or I will be absent. 이렇게 쓸 수도 있겠죠. 품사 좀 바꿔서. 자, 그 다음에는 증빙 서류. 영어로는
Supporting documents. So these documents, they provide extra information that accompanies or substantiates a primary document. That would be your absent form, saying you were absent from such and such date to such and such date. So it's used at schools, businesses, any sort of administrative work.
네, supporting이라는 것은 보충해주고 있다라는 의미니까요. 여기서는 결석을 한 것을 보충하는, 증명하는, 그 다음에 documents는 서류, 자료 이런 거죠. 그래서 증빙 자료가 되겠습니다. supporting documents. Here's the headline again. The Ministry of Education has expanded its National Education Information System, allowing parents to report their children's absences and submit supporting documents online.
This year's Chuseok full moon will appear at 6:17 p.m. on Chuseok Day in Seoul and reach its highest point in the sky at around midnight, according to the Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute.
한국천문연구원에 따르면 올해 추석 보름달은 서울 기준 오후 6시 17분에 떠서 자정 무렵에 가장 높이 떠 있게 될 것으로 보입니다. Right, so tell us about when people can see the full moon in other areas as well, if you can. And
Yeah.
tell us about this.
Yeah, so the full moon will be at its peak height, so that's the highest point in the sky at 12:04 a.m. on September 18th. So it's called mang. That's when the full moon becomes completely round, and that's gonna occur at 11:34 a.m. Or 11:34 a.m. on the 18th, the day after Chuseok.
Okay.
And Chuseok's full moon will appear in Incheon at 6:18 p.m., 6:14 p.m. in Daejeon, 6:09 p.m. in Daegu, 6:15 p.m. in Gwangju, 6:06 p.m. in Busan and Ulsan, and 6:15 p.m. in Sejong.
네. 대략적으로 한 6시에서 6시 20분 사이네요.
Yeah,
전국적으로.
yeah, yeah.
네. 지역마다 약간의 차이는 있지만 이제 추석 당일날 이게 17일이죠?
Yeah.
네, 추석 당일날 대략 한 6시부터 6시 20분 사이부터 이제 보름달이 보일 것으로 그렇게 예상이 됩니다. Of course, this is important because, it's the tradition to look up to the full moon and
Do your
make
little
your
dance.
wishes. Yeah. All right. So reaching the highest point is our first expression.
Right. So, we said the highest point in the sky. We call this the zenith. when something is at the highest point or the highest point in the sky is called the zenith, and it's where something is directly above above a particular point in location. But we can also, when we talk about this, we also say the highest point of a peak or of a mountain, an apex or a climax. So the highest point in this case, when we are talking about the moon or the sun, we are talking about it in the sky. But we can also mention or refer to it when we are talking about the mountain's highest point or our emotions' highest point when we're talking about something that's very exciting or the most enjoyable part about something or the best part of an experience.
네, 가장 높은 지점이 highest point입니다. 거기에 도달하는 것을 reach라고 표현할 수 있어서 the full moon will reach its highest point. 그리고 언제 뒤에 이어지면 되겠죠. At 6:17 p.m. or 6:06 p.m. 지역마다 좀 다릅니다. highest point를 이제 또 다른 말로 물론 peak라고 쓸 수도 있겠지만 peak는 보통 산 정상처럼 네, 눈에 보이는 어떤 그런 정점을 말하고요. 비유적으로 또 많이 쓰이고 여기서는 그냥 highest point, it will reach its peak 보다는 highest point가 더 자연스러운 것 같아요.
Yeah.
자, 그 다음에는 astronomy 보겠습니다.
Yeah, astronomy. Don't get this mixed up with astrology.
Oh.
It's completely different.
What's the difference?
Well, astrology is kind of like, you're looking at the stars and thinking about your astrological sign, like are you a Cancer?
Your
Are
fortune.
Exactly, right. So it's not science. So astronomy is science. It's the actual scientific study of the universe and of the objects that exist in the universe naturally in space, like the moon or the sun or the planets and the stars.
맞아요. 그 앞에 붙은 astro라는 요 단어가 원래 이제 그런 별과 관련된 것일 거예요.
Yeah.
그래서 우리가 우주 비행사 astronaut라고 하잖아요. 근데 astrology하고 astronomy는 다 별과 관련된 단어들이긴 한데 astronomy는 천문학입니다. 그리고 astrology는 우리 별자리 같은 거 있잖아요. 운명 얘기할 때 하는 점성술이에요. 그래서 특히 서양에서는 무슨 자리.
Yeah.
What sign are you?
I'm a Cancer.
You're a Cancer.
Yeah.
I'm a Scorpio. Is it Scorpio or
Yeah.
Yes. I get confused with the animal and the star sign sometimes.
Yeah.
그래요. 그런 게 이제 astrology가 되겠습니다. 그거 말고요. 이거는 이제 그냥 운명 이런 거니까 그거 말고 astronomy. 네, 요게 이제 천문학인데 기관 이름입니다. 그래서 지금 Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute라고 해서 한국 천문연구원을 이렇게 표현을 합니다. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. This year's Chuseok full moon will appear at 6:17 p.m. on Chuseok Day in Seoul and reach its highest point in the sky at around midnight, according to the Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute. Now let's move on to the next headline.
The beluga whale suspected of having been trained as a spy by Russia has been found dead off the Norwegian coast.
과거 러시아군의 스파이 훈련을 받았을 것으로 추측됐던 흰 돌고래가 노르웨이 앞바다에서 죽은 채 발견됐습니다. 우리 모닝 스페셜에서도 이 소식을 여러 번 전해드렸었죠. 처음에 발견됐을 때도 그 다음에 이제 노르웨이 사람들과 좀 친해지는 모습까지도 중간중간 많이 전해졌었기 때문에
Yep.
그래서 좀 친근한 느낌이 있기 때문에 부정관사어가 아니라 정관사 the를 써서
Yep.
그 흰돌고래 우리는 이제 알고 있으니까 어떤
Yeah.
흰돌고래인지 이렇게 얘기를 했습니다만 만약에 처음 얘기하는 거면 로
Yeah.
가시면 됩니다.
Right.
자, 근데 tell us more.
Right. So this beluga whale, nicknamed Vladimir,
Yeah.
was found floating off the southwestern town of Rizavika and was taken to the nearest port for examination. So you've dealt with news related to this whale before, but it was first spotted in Norwegian waters 5 years ago
Yeah.
with a camera attached to a harness that read equipment of St. Petersburg, which is why they started suspecting that it was was a spy trained by Russia. And of course, they say that this is not new. It's happened in the past. Of course, Moscow has never responded to any of these allegations.
Right.
Vladimir's lifeless body was discovered during the weekend by Marine Mind, which is an organization that has tracked his movements for years now. They say they don't know what has caused his death. His body didn't show any obvious signs of injuries, but they say that his age is estimated to be about 15, and it's not old for a beluga whale, which can live up to about 60 years.
Very sad.
Yeah.
네, 그 노르웨이에서 발견된 장치를 부착하고 있는 흰돌고래였어요. 근데 그 장치에 러시아어가 쓰여 있었기 때문에 그 페테르스부르크라는 문구도 있었고 그래서 혹시 러시아에서 훈련을 받은 스파이용 그런 흰돌고래가 아닐까라고 추측이 돼서
Yeah.
이름도 일부러 이제 러시아식 이름이
Yeah, yeah.
하발드미에라고
Yeah.
붙여줬는데 근데 이 흰돌고래가 계속 이 지역에 머물면서 사람들과 좀 친근하게 사람들을 굉장히 좋아했대요.
They're very
네.
smart and they're
그래요.
very friendly.
그래서 처음에는 좀 경계를 했다가 그 다음에는 사람들도 이제 굉장히 좋아하는 그런 분위기까지 저희가 몇 년 전에 전해드렸었던 것 같은데 저도 이제 궁금했어요. 어떻게 지내고 있나 했는데 갑자기 이제 그 사체로 발견이 됐다라는 소식이고 한 15살 정도로 추정이 된답니다. 근데
Yeah.
보통 흰돌고래는 60살 정도까지 산다고 하니까 나이가 많았던 것도 아닌데 네, 알 수 없는 그런 사인으로 사망한 채 발견이 된 beluga whale 소식입니다. Let's go back to when this beluga whale was first discovered.
Yep.
It was suspected of something.
Right. So we use this when someone or something is believed to be guilty of a crime or guilty of something.
Right. 예, 무엇이 의심이 된다는 뜻이죠. And it was suspected of having been trained as a spy.
Yeah. When you're trained as something, you are someone who is trained, or when you are taught the skills and knowledge needed for a particular job or a particular activity.
그래요. 네, 무엇으로 훈련을 받다. 무엇이 되기 위해서 훈련받다. Be trained as a spy. 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. The beluga whale suspected of having been trained as a spy by Russia has been found dead off the Norwegian coast. Now let's move on to the final headline.
At least 7 people were injured in Thailand when the ceiling of an auditorium collapsed, reportedly due to the buildup of bird droppings on the structure.
태국에서 강당 천장이 무너져 최소 7명의 부상자가 발생하는 사고가 있었습니다. 이 사고는 강당 구조물에 비둘기 배설물이 쌓인 게 원인인 것으로 알려졌습니다. Okay, so there must have been a lot of bird droppings.
A lot of bird droppings, so that's why you should clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, clean. So at the time of the accident, there was an evaluation of, education institutions participated by government officials, school administrators, teachers, and students. And the investigation suggested that the ceiling collapse was caused by the many pigeons that were living under the roof, causing a significant buildup of pigeon droppings. The auditorium was also old. It had been used for 100 years, leading to age damage as well. So, I guess it was, a multiple factors. It was old, plus the bird droppings, they do cause a lot of decay. The wood, it's not something that's easy to clean, of course. So at first they said there weren't that many people that were injured, but they later added that there were 7 people that were injured due to this incident.
Okay. We're talking about an auditorium which the ceiling collapsed in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's an auditorium?
So in the U.S., it's usually used to refer to a large public building where meetings and concerts are held, but it's also used to refer to something, a part of a theater or a similar building where people who are watching and listening sit in. So that's an auditorium.
네, 강당이고요. 또 다른 말로 그냥 hall, H-A-L-L이라고도 하죠. build up을 보겠습니다. 명사입니다.
Yeah. Yeah, build up. It's one word.
Yep.
It's not two words. So it's a gradual accumulation or increase of something, typically of something negative. So build up here of bird droppings. It's not something that's positive.
네, 명사고요. 무엇이 쌓이고 해서 굉장히 많아진 상태를 말합니다. 그래서 우리말로도 바로 이제 이해가 되는 단어죠.
Yeah,
빌드업이라는 단어잖아요. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. At least 7 people were injured in Thailand when the ceiling of an auditorium collapsed, reportedly due to the build-up of bird droppings on the structure. And that's it for our headlines with Karen.
The number of ozone alert days in Seoul has totaled 31 so far this year, according to city officials, posting a 10-fold increase over the past decade.
올해 서울의 오존주의보 발령 일수가 지금까지 총 31일로 지난 10년 사이에 10배가 늘었다고 서울시 측이 밝혔습니다. So the air's getting, well, far from clean. Let's just say that. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I guess that would be correct. So, according to the city government on Wednesday, the number of days with ozone alerts that were issued in the city jumped to 31 through August this year. So up to this point, from January to August, and that's up from just 3 days in 2015. So over that same period, the total number of ozone alerts issued in Seoul increased from 4 to 109 over this past decade.
Right. I mean, we have so many stories about the environment, but, you know, it's not something to take lightly just because we have so many of these stories. And this one is about the ozone level, I guess the air quality and pollution in the air. And it's just obviously gotten worse.
Right. I had to do a bit of research on this when we talk about
Okay.
ozone. So ozone is a form of oxygen, but it's O3, so it has 3 oxygen atoms. And people hear about the ozone layer in
Yeah.
our atmosphere.
Yeah.
So there's 2 types of ozone layers. So there's the protective layer that's in the upper atmosphere, in the stratosphere, which we're going to talk about in the last story, and that screens out harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun. But then there's harmful ozone in the lower atmosphere, and that's the troposphere. So this actually poses risks to people, and this type of ozone is actually the major component in what's known as smog. So we hear about smog all the time. So
Right.
harmful ozone is when chemical is formed when emissions like hydrocarbons and nitrous oxide from vehicles, from power plants, and some industries interact with sunlight. So this isn't about necessarily global warming. This is about
Right.
pollution in the air, all the cars and probably the coal burning in Korea, which has always been a major issue.
네. 대기오염과 관련된 소식이죠. 네, 오존 알러트라는 거는 오존 주의보인데 이제 오존이 다량 발생한다라는 경보가 되겠습니다. And then when you say so far this year, what are you saying?
Up to this point, so until now.
올해 지금까지라는 뜻으로 so far this year라고 얘기를 할 수 있습니다.
So you could say that at any point in the year. Obviously, it's saying it's through August, so the first 8 months of the year. If you say it at the end of September, that'd be 9 months, whatever it is. And you can say so far today. You can even
Yeah.
say that so far this week.
맞아요. 그래서 뒤에는 좀 다른 단어들이 올 수 있습니다. 오늘 중에서도 이제 지금까지를 말하고 싶으면 so far today. 이번 주 중에 지금까지는 so far this week 이런 식으로 얘기를 하면 되는데 올해 지금까지 이 오존주의보가 발령된 일수가 31일입니다. 2024년 현재. 그런데 지난 10년 동안의 데이터를 보게 되면 10년 전에는 이제 그 1년에 한 3일 정도 이렇게 오존 발령주의보가 내려졌던 일수가 많지가 않았어요. 그러니까 굉장히 많이 늘었다는 걸 잘 알 수 있습니다. All right, so let me read the headline once again. The number of ozone alert days in Seoul has totaled 31 so far this year, according to city officials, posting a 10-fold increase over the past decade. Let's move on to the next headline.
The ruins of a Greek village that lay submerged for more than 4 decades have reappeared after record temperatures caused a major reservoir to partially dry up.
그리스에서 기록적인 폭염으로 한 주요 저수지의 일부 구역이 마르면서 40년 이상 수몰됐던 마을의 잔해가 다시 모습을 드러냈습니다. Ooh, what's going on here?
Well, 40 years ago, the residents of this village called Callio were forced to evacuate their homes. This was to make way for a dam that was being built in southern Greece. And this dam supplies water to the capital city, Athens. However, recently, these drought conditions in recent months caused the reservoir levels to drop dramatically, and it revealed the remains of several homes and a school. And it's not the first time. It's actually only the second time since Callio was abandoned some 40 years ago that the village has been seen. The first time was in the 1990s during another period of drought.
Wow. So I wonder, in terms of, how much water is now has sort of gone down in this dam.
Seems like
it
it'd
must
have to be quite a lot.
Significant, right?
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. For submerged houses to appear.
Yeah, and a school.
Yeah.
They said, I read this town had about some 80 houses and a school and a church.
Wow. And you can see some of that now.
Some of that, yeah.
그렇군요. 이 물 속에 잠겨 있었던 그러니까 일부러 이제 40년 전에 그쪽에다가 댐을 짓기 위해서 기존에 살던 사람들은 다 나오고 그다음에 댐을 거기에다가 건설을 하고 그다음에 물에 잠긴 마을인 것 같습니다. 수몰된 마을인데 80채 정도의 집이 있고 교회도 있고 학교도 있었던 그런 마을이었대요. 그래서 이제 어쨌든 이 수몰된 마을이 40년 동안 모습을 드러내지 않았다가 지금 이제 너무나 이 가뭄 상태가 좀 심각해지다 보니까 물이 바짝바짝 마르면서 결국은 이제 수위가 내려가고 이 마을이 다시 모습을 드러낸 거죠. So this village was submerged.
Submerged, underwater.
Yep.
Simply, that's what submerged means. So I like to boil eggs a few times a week, and you have to submerge them in water. It'll say that if you look up the recipe.
그렇죠. Submerge라는 거는 완전히 물에 잠긴다는 뜻입니다. 요리할 때도 완전히 물에 넣어서 뭐 삶는다든지 이럴 때도 submerge something in a pot 이렇게 얘기할 수도 있겠고요. So just to clarify, this village 40 years ago, it was the people there were forced to evacuate, and then the dam did it overflow, or what? Like, why didn't they just demolish the village? Why was it covered?
I don't know.
Okay, there you go.
It doesn't say.
That was I was wondering as
You've
well.
got the same information I have.
그렇군요. 저희 둘 다 사실 이제 과거 그 40년 전의 스토리는 지금 잘 모르겠는데 어쨌든 수몰된 빌리지입니다. 수몰됐다, 물에 잠겼다. 영어로 submerge. So a submarine is a device that goes underwater.
That's right.
Yeah. 자, 그 다음에는요. Partially.
Partially just means partly, not completely.
그렇죠. 부분적으로 뭐뭐하다. Not completely, partially.
So I think the article we read only partially explained
Yes.
why this village became submerged.
그러네요. The article we read did not have the complete information, but there you go. Sometimes we only get partial information. Okay, here's the headline again. The ruins of a Greek village that lay submerged for more than 4 decades have reappeared after record temperatures caused a major reservoir to partially dry up.
3 humanitarian organizations have warned that Sudan is on the brink of a starvation crisis of historic proportions, criticizing the international community for failing to adequately address the severe hunger crisis.
국제구호기관 3개 단체는 현재 수단이 역사상 전례 없는 수준의 아사 위기에 직면했다고 경고하면서 국제사회가 이런 심각한 기아 위기에 적절히 대처하지 못하고 있다고 비판했습니다. Let's talk about Sudan.
So according to these, we mentioned in the headline, 3 humanitarian organizations. That's the Norwegian Refugee Council, the Danish Refugee Council, and the Mercy Corps. They released a joint statement on Tuesday, and they said the international community is failing to address the immense hunger. They mentioned that more than 25 million people, which is more than half of the population of Sudan, are suffering acute food insecurity. Many families for months have been reduced to 1 meal a day and have even been forced to eat leaves or insects, these agencies said. They mentioned that international attention and action have amounted to too little too late. Right. And they said the response plan, the humanitarian response plan, is currently only 41% funded.
dear.
So they mentioned that pressure must be applied to ensure that humanitarian aid can flow into these regions, or people will die. And there's two rival generals that have been locked in this brutal power struggle in Sudan since April of 2023. And this fighting has displaced more than 10 million people and killed thousands.
When you say people have been displaced, that means they are no longer able to go to their homes.
Forced to leave.
Yeah, they had to leave their homes. All right, so we're looking at Sudan, which is on the brink of a starvation crisis.
So on the brink of something is very close to it. Usually it's used for bad things, like on the brink of war.
Right.
Perhaps you could say like, oh, I'm on the brink of a promotion at work, but that you don't really hear people say that very often.
Yeah, there is that negative connotation.
Yeah,
isn't there?
usually like, a company or an economy might be on the brink of collapse, or a company can be on the brink of bankruptcy, it's about to happen.
bankruptcy는 파산이죠. 그리고 collapse도 역시 무너지는 것인데 이렇게 보통은 안 좋은 일이 일어나기 직전에 쓸 수 있는 표현이 A is on the brink of B. A는 지금 B가 되기 일보 직전이다. 안 좋은 상황에 대해서 보통 많이 씁니다. 자, 그 다음에는요. adequately.
Adequately means sufficiently. So if something has been done adequately, then the basic requirements have been fulfilled. Doesn't necessarily always mean perfect or amazing, but it's adequate. It's good enough.
적절하다, 적절하게 뭐뭐뭐 할 때 adequately 라는 부사를 쓸 수 있고요. 뒤에 나와 있는 address라는 것은 여기서는 대처한다 라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. 그래서 적절히 대처를 해야 되는데 지금 그렇게 안 되고 있다라는 뜻이 되겠죠. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. 3 humanitarian organizations have warned that Sudan is on the brink of a starvation crisis of historic proportions, criticizing the international community for failing to adequately address the severe hunger crisis. Let's move on to the next headline.
A recent expedition by a deep-sea mapping company has discovered that a significant portion of the Titanic's railing has collapsed and now rests on the ocean floor.
한 심해 지도 제작 업체가 진행한 최근 탐사에서 타이타닉호 난간의 상당 부분이 무너져 해저에 가라앉은 것이 발견됐습니다. Tell us more.
Well, this railing, which was pretty much immortalized in the movie, the famous movie scene where Jack and Rose are, what do they say? What is
I'm the king of the
I'm the king of the
world.
world, right, exactly. I knew it was something like that. So it's been discovered during a series of dives by underwater robots this summer that the wreck, it's changing actually. So a part of this railing has now fallen off. They say the section of railing is about 4.5 meters long, and they think it fell off at some point over the last 2 years.
이 레일링이라는 게 난간이 되겠고요. 그 영화 속에서 디카프리오가 이렇게 난간 앞쪽에 그걸 잡고 그다음에 손 이렇게 탁 펼치면서 I'm the king of the world라고 했던 그 장면을 떠올리시면 될 것 같은데 그 레일링인가 봐요. 그게 이제 떨어져 나간 것이 발견이 됐고 이게 최근이 아니라 아마 한 2년 전쯤에 떨어져 나갔을 것이다. 라는 그러니까 2년 전부터 지금까지 그 정확한 시점은 알 수 없지만 요 사이에 떨어져 나간 것으로 그렇게 지금 추정이 되고 있는 거고요. 그렇다면 어디 갔느냐? 뭐 해저로 지금 내려가 있을 것이다. 라는 얘기가 되겠습니다. Is that also where Rose and what's his name? They hugged.
Oh, I thought you were going to say where they're lying at the bottom of the ocean. I was going to say, Sue, they're not real people. That's Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
They're perfectly fine.
Right, there you go. But then, where they have that hugging scene in the movie, I think that's also at that railing. I don't remember exactly,
it's
but I think
possible.
that's where it was. Yeah.
Yes,
All
could
right.
be.
Well,
But
this
again,
is-
those aren't real people.
Yeah,
That's
it's
just
a
the
movie.
movies. Yeah, I know it's your favorite movie. I know you. As soon as I saw this article, I'm like, Sue's going to talk about the movie. It's
Yeah.
it's your birthday. You get to talk about that movie.
Well, of course, it was quite dramatized, but as we know, it's based on a true story. And there were some really, really factual things put in the movie as well.
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't really joke about it because 1,500 people died during that, and that was back
huge
in
tragedy.
1912, April of 1912, and the Titanic now lies 3,800 meters under the ocean.
Okay. Well, the latest discovery was made by an expedition.
When we talk about expedition, it's a journey, but it's a serious journey, and there's often a very specific purpose, and many people go. They usually have lots of equipment with them.
Yep.
And a lot of times expeditions can be dangerous.
Of
So
course.
you're going into the rainforest, you're going up Mount Everest, or you're going to the Arctic or Antarctica, for example. And usually for some type of research. So there's some purpose for it. It's
맞습니다.
not just for fun.
여기서 말하는 expedition은 이 탐험대를 말하고 있어요. 그래가지고 뭐 탐험이라는 그런 명사이기도 한데 그런 탐험대 그 팀이 알아낸 사실이다라는 뜻으로 지금 쓰고 있고 그 다음에는 그 난간의 상당 부분이 떨어져 나갔다라고 할 때 상당 부분 significant portion 보겠습니다.
That means a large amount or a large piece of something. So significant means a lot.
Yeah, exactly. significant가 굉장히 중요하다는 뜻도 있거든요. 그래서 significant portion 그러면은 상당히 중요한 비중을 차지하는 부분이니까 큰 부분이고요. My significant other 하면은 나한테 굉장히 중요한 내 인생의 또 다른 사람. 그러니까 이제 보통 남편이나 아내에 대해서 이렇게 얘기를 합니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A recent expedition by a deep-sea mapping company has discovered that a significant portion of the Titanic's railing has collapsed and now rests on the ocean floor. Let's move on to our final headline.
An unusual warming event has been observed in the stratosphere above Antarctica, leading to significant temperature fluctuations between July and August.
남극 성층권에서 이례적인 온난화 현상이 관측돼 7월과 8월 사이 큰 폭의 기온 변동이 있었음이 확인됐습니다. All right, let's talk more about this.
Yeah, well, July temperatures in the stratosphere above Antarctica, they're typically around minus 80 degrees Celsius. And we should mention this is their winter time. I looked it up. So Antarctica, winter is March to October. Typically around minus 80 degrees Celsius. But on July 7th, temperatures in the middle of the stratosphere jumped up 15 degrees Celsius, which is not very common. It then cooled off, but then temperatures jumped again at the beginning of August. They in this point they went up 17 degrees Celsius. So. Now, they call these things sudden stratospheric warming or SSW events. And in the Arctic, this is far more common. This happens once a year or once every 2 years, but this polar vortex in the southern hemisphere is typically much less active. So these sudden warming events, they only happen in the Antarctica once every 5 years roughly. So scientists are trying to figure out why this happened. They don't fully know why.
Exactly. First of all, Antarctica is another word for South Pole.
Right.
And so the Arctic would be the North Pole.
Right. You got Santa up north and the
Yeah.
penguins down south.
And Pengsu as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pengsu's from Antarctica,
Oh,
I
yeah, that
believe.
makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. 자, 그래서 이제 남극, 북극. 쉽게 말하면 South Pole, North Pole이지만 이제 그렇게 말하기도 하고요. 이제 원래 정식 명칭은 Antarctica 하고 Arctic가 되겠습니다. 그래서 지금 남극 얘기를 하고 있는데 이 안타르티카의 보통 3월에서 10월 사이의 평균 기온이 영하 80도씨라고 하는데요. 그리고 변동이 많이 없어야 된대요. 그렇지만 지난 7월 달에는 이 마이너스 80도에서 한 15도가량 올라갔고 물론 그래도 굉장히 춥지만 근데 이렇게까지 큰 온도차로 기온이 변동이 되는 것 자체가 좀 이례적이라고 합니다. 8월에도 마찬가지로 한 17도 정도가 이렇게 올라가서 이게 좀 문제가 아닐까 살펴보고 있는 그런 상황인 거죠. 자, 이렇게 관측이 됐습니다. This was observed.
When you observe something, you see it, you notice it, you witness it.
Yep.
And a lot of times when we talk about scientists, they observe things. They're running experiments or they're trying to see, notice changes in something. So if they realize that this is something that's happening.
그렇습니다. 관찰하는 것을 observe 한다고 하고요. stratosphere는 성층권이고 fluctuation은요?
Fluctuations, yeah, as you're kind of doing there when things change,
Yeah.
right? And it's frequent. It's not just one change, it's frequent changes. Things go up and down. So temperatures fluctuate,
Stock
stock
prices.
prices fluctuate, people's moods fluctuate.
Yes. 그러네요. 오르락 내리락 하는 게 있으면 fluctuate 한다라고 하고요. 그 명사 형태가 fluctuation입니다. 지금 얘기한 것들. 주가가 이렇게 올라갔다 내려갔다 하기도 하고 사람 기분이 올라갔다 내려갔다 하기도 하고 그래서 다 fluctuate 한다라는 동사로 표현을 할 수가 있고요. 여기서 말하는 거는 temperature fluctuation입니다. 기온의 심각한 변동이 되겠죠. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. An unusual warming event has been observed in the stratosphere above Antarctica, leading to significant temperature fluctuations between July and August. And that's it for our headlines with Ray.